Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Tim. Today I'm going to be doing a book review on a book that I didn't know I was going to read until I got it. Every month I've started doing a little wheel that spins, and one of the on what I'm going to read for next month, and the one that came up was a library book. I haven't reserved anything at the library, so I went with my kids to the library, and kind of directed them towards a section. My wife, we've done it before. I've gone, kids, pick me a book from the library, and I think once my wife said they tried to pick like a Regency era romance book, which isn't really my thing, and then one of them was like a steamy domestic thriller. So this time I kind of directed them a little bit, and we narrowed it down. But the kids love Star Wars at the moment. So the books they point. We went to like the sci-fi fantasy section because it's quite a small section, and I'd read basically anything in there. And they were kind of picking up books. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. And they looked at the graphic novels as well. And we narrowed it down to three different Star Wars books. And then they picked. They tried to pick together. It kind of happened, kind of didn't happen. But in the end, they picked Bloodline by Claudia Gray. So this is in the new continuity. This isn't a Legends book. And it says, in the years before Star Wars The Force Awakens. I think this takes place about six or so years before Force Awakens, which is my favourite of the new ones. There you go. You even go for like a little... Even opens with a little timeline there. So you can see all the things. And then there's The Force Awakens and there's Bloodline there. When this was published. This was published in 2006. Is that right? Hey, let's say. Yeah, and it's, first of all, an amazing cover. I think it's a really, really cool cover because it's about Princess Leia, and big part of the story is her knowing, but no one else really, that Darth Vader is her father. That's one of the, and then you got the ships there, which I think is really cool. Love the colors, strong titles. You can tell it's Star Wars. I think it's obvious that it's Princess Leia, but it's not like her face just like planted on it. Really strong cover. This is a book that covers something that I wish The Force Awakens had covered more of, which is how at the beginning of The Force Awakens you have the New Republic. Spoilers for the movie, by the way. You have the New Republic, and then the First Order just are there. They're like, it says I think it says in the front crawl, it's like, oh, and there's this thing, the First Order, and then they use their big, not Death Star, but it's a Death Star, to completely destroy the New Republic, and it happens quite early on in the film, and then they go do the Star Wars, and something that I think it's a missed opportunity, in that I would have liked at the beginning for the New Republic to be the status quo, and the First Order to be like the rebels and be fighting, but obviously be bad guys, but like be undercurrent, and then they maybe reach the crescendo at the end of the movie. This scratches that itch for me because the First Order doesn't exist yet. Not properly, not really. And this is set primarily on Hosnian Prime, which is where the New Republic is. It's very political. This is about Princess Leia, the senator. She's not a general. It's about her being a senator. And this political stuff, which is mainly about populists, where they want each planet to like kind of govern themselves, or centrists, where they want power to be centralized. Leia is a populist because she has seen what happens when power is centralized. You get the Empire. And I think it shows the political side, and you see it from Leia's perspective, but there's a character that she meets quite early on who is a centrist, and they end up having to work together to try and solve a mystery to do with organized crime and militias and things like that. There's a couple of other side characters, who I think are really interesting. One of them is an X-Wing pilot called Joff, and the other one is part of Princess Leia's staff, someone called Greer. And all the characters are great in this, I would say. Well, almost all the characters. And you have Leia and this other guy, this other senator, having to work together, and they really, really hate each other to start with, and then they learn to appreciate each other, and then they learn to like each other. It's not a romance in any... No. She's married to Han Solo, and she does regularly talk to him, and he's off doing, like, races and stuff like that. And I haven't seen all of this political maneuvering. I hadn't seen it before in a Star Wars book, and I really enjoyed it. I can imagine if you got this and you thought Princess Leia is going to go shooting everybody, and there is a bit of that, but the politics takes up, I would say, 75% of the book. There's the odd action bit, but it's like they go to investigate something, and then there's a big action scene. The action scenes are great. The action scenes are really... I could very clearly visualize in my mind what was happening, and I think, oh, that would be really cool. And then you have, this undercurrent of they're trying to find out this gangster person, and they're like, well, there's a power behind, what is it? And me, I'm like, that will be probably the First Order, but they don't know that doesn't exist. Leia as a character in this, I find it very hard to distinguish personally. Like, I think in the films, Princess Leia isn't generally given a ton to do, and I think the reason why she's such a compelling character is because Carrie Fisher is so compelling as a person, and any positive trait that Leia has is because Carrie Fisher gave it to her just by being Carrie Fisher. So for me, they're really, really linked. So when I think of Carrie Fisher, I think of Princess Leia. And for this, Leia is tired, a bit older, and she's had enough. She doesn't give a crap about all of the politicking, but she needs to do it because that's the way that she sees how it works. So I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars, and it was more of a 4.5. The only reason why it's 5, not 5, is because the main antagonistic force, you don't get to learn enough about it. The ending action scene is really good, but it kind of goes, oh, there's you think the bad guy? Oh, they're gone. And you're like, oh, I wanted a bit more there. And the ending does exactly what the author wants it to. I just had very strong emotions about it. I'm not going to spoil it, but I had very strong emotions about the ending, and I wanted it to be a bit different. I think it's fair to say. And that's probably why it brought it down to 4.5 to 4 stars. But this is... I am really, really glad my kids picked this book out. And I think if you're a fan of Star Wars, if you're a fan of Princess Leia, I think if you're a fan of like political maneuvering, and things like that, I think that's, even if you're not a fan, if you don't really care about Star Wars too much, as in you're not going to be like, oh man, they mentioned that planet. Don't know what that was, but even if you like, so I think if you like Game of Thrones, you'd probably like this, because it is that kind of political maneuvering. But anyway, I really enjoyed this, and I am very glad that my kids picked this from the library. So, and also one more states announcement: use your local libraries. In the UK, the libraries are incredibly underfunded, and they don't get enough traffic, and they offer lots of services. Not just renting books. You can rent audiobooks. You can rent stuff on your Kindle. You can use it to print stuff. You can use it as a full computer suite. So please use your local libraries, because otherwise they're going to disappear, and that'll be really sad. Anyway, I enjoyed this. 4 stars. Go read it now. Bye!